The first thing that came to my mind when I got to his house and he said, you know what, you are going to be my running mate. I thought we are going to be jogging together.
Well, it's an interview I'm sure you've been waiting for. He admitted that the announcement as Kalonzo Musyoka's running mate caught him by surprise. And he even assumed it was an invitation to a jog. So just how real is the Kalonzo Sunkuli ticket? The Kilgoris-born educationist and politician Andrew Sunkuli is live here with us on Newsnight. And let me start by welcoming you to the program.
Wahiga, thank you for having me.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
And of course, you made headlines recently with that announcement. And I want us to start on a serious note.
All right.
How did you end up being picked as running mate by Kalonzo Musyoka? How did that come to be?
I don't know how he ended up picking me, but I know how he communicated that to me. It was Saturday 14th of this month, and I was in Narok doing what I normally do. You know, I was a candidate for the senatorship of Narok. So I was out there in the field, got back to Nairobi, and feeling tired after an eventful 2 days, and I decided I was going to rest the whole of the evening, so I switched off my phones completely. Said I was going to have 3 hours of no interruption. When I woke up and freshened up and switched on my phone, there were so many missed calls from different people.
This is, sorry, same day, Saturday night?
Saturday,
or the next?
Saturday evening.
Saturday evening.
6, 7 o'clock. So my wife, who was away from home, calls me and he says, everybody is looking for you and everybody is saying Kalonzo is looking for you. So, to the best of my knowledge, we had no outstanding business. Actually, you know, I was going to host the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka in Narok on the 16th.
2 days later.
2 days later. So I thought maybe he would wanted to make changes to the program. But the sheer intensity of the calls, from what I could see in the missed calls, that couldn't have been the subject matter.
Finally, he gets through to you.
So no, he doesn't get through to me.
Oh, he doesn't get through to you?
Neither do I get through to him. So I said, anyway, since this is urgent, I'm going to look for him. So I go to his office and security tell me he was here, but he's left. So I go home. I took myself home. And I found him there. And
oh, you took yourself to his home?
To his home.
From Narok to...
No. I was in my home in Nairobi.
You're in Nairobi?
I arrived.
And you had, okay.
Yeah, so I go to his home in Nairobi. And we had a cup of tea, and after the usual pleasantries, he broke the news to me. And he said, you know what? I'm on this race. And I have decided you are going to be my running mate. And I must admit there was a split of a second of silence in the room. And then I said, really? And he said, yeah, really. And I said to him, all right, what does this mean? I'm a candidate for Senate. He's told me, you know, there comes a time you choose between a job and a country. And I said, I would choose a country anytime. So he said, so is that a yes? I said, let's go.
And within those few minutes...
And I said, I don't know where this is heading, but let's go. Country, yes.
Your political future changed. Did you ask him why? Why me?
I did. He never fully answered, but he said it's you. He never fully answered, but he said it's you. Admittedly, he gave a little background, first of all, to why he's going to run. Not the subject of Wahiga's studio, but he gave his background. And I appreciate. He's a gentleman I know, and I know him well. And I know when he speaks from his heart.
Can you give us any insights into that background? He's not here and you're the only one?
Another day.
Another day?
Let's drag this story.
Okay, we'll not get anything from you on that. So let's get some basics out of the way. Now that you've made this official, are you a member of the Wiper Party?
Yes, I am. I was already a nominated candidate for the Senate on Wiper. I have my certificate of nomination, although, of course, now it's for the archives because my candidature has been formally withdrawn.
When did you join Wiper?
Sorry?
How long have you been a Wiper member for?
Not very long.
A month, a year, 6 years?
Let me put it this way. It's a few months, not so long ago. But my relationship with His Excellency Kalonzo is much longer.
Tell us a bit about that, because one presupposes that when someone's running mate, there's a closeness, there's a friendship, shared vision with a candidate. Explain to us your relationship.
I am not sure, if you look at running mates globally, that you need all the personal intimacy. But I have known the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka for at least the last 10 years, of, let me say a little more, about 15. And we have related well. But in addition to that, we had a family sort of thing, because my wife and Mama Pauline have been friends forever. They were together in India when she was in college. My wife went there to study something, and they were together. And then for donkey years, they worked together at the Central Bank of Kenya. So we had those interactions at the family level. Yeah.
And then you get that call and that famous comment, jogging. And I reckon you've gotten a lot of reaction to that particular comment. That
particular one, I've been the butt of jokes. Somebody told my relative, what? You Masais, these Masais, they don't even know the difference between an election and jogging.
That's a generalization. I think it's a fair comment to the whole community.
You know, finally, first of all, I was amused. I'm sure they didn't mean it. But, you know, I was conscious that there was something of a split screen between what was happening at KICC and what was happening at the command center. I was conscious that Raila was naming his running mate, and I was being named a running mate. And I was conscious that there was some element of tension in the country being generated by this, the appearance that Kalonzo Musyoka is breaking away. And the joke, because it was a joke, the joke was one that came to me on the spot. I didn't premeditate. But consciously, I was trying to light up the room, and I was trying to tell the country, we are not at war.
Was it a coincidence that the naming of running mates was happening simultaneously or not, from where you sit?
I think partly, if you ask me, partly, there were deadlines to beat.
But the timing was uncanny, surely.
Sorry?
The timing was uncanny, almost 10, 11 a.m. on this side, 10, 11 a.m. on this other side.
Let me actually confess that I was late. I was late, and Mheshimiwa Kalonzo got a bit concerned that I was late, and he kept calling. And I said, you know, Your Excellency, I never get bought the night before. So I was just late because I had some family things to attend to. So the actual hour on which the event began had something to do with my 1 hour lateness.
Okay, so it was not meant to be exactly the same time as what was happening.
It was not meant to undermine anything else. No, it wasn't.
So this announcement by Kalonzo running for the presidency came on the back of a disagreement with Honorable Raila Odinga over the position of running mate. How much of Kalonzo's grievances that led to clearly what was a flurry of events that weekend, how much of his grievances are you aware of?
Not much, because, number one, I was deeply involved with my campaign as for Senate of Narok.
But you surely must have gotten to know a few of them.
Rather bizarre. You know, this is a bizarre year, and you should expect there are going to be a few twists and turns before the train steadies. But I think I was not only campaigning for myself as senator, I was also campaigning for Raila on instructions of my party.
And then you find yourself in this situation.
And I had some posters which were going to press. Guess with who? My picture and my then presidential candidate's picture. So I said, stop press. But I cannot say that I know in depth, but it's all in the public domain, Wahiga. Everybody knows what they know, and I also know what everybody knows. You
can't tell us anything more. Surely when he briefed you, he must have said, these are my reasons for this change of tack.
There are those things, but I want to say something, and I think this, and I'm neither begging the question, nor am I avoiding yours. But I want to say this, that in spite of all this push and pull, it's very important for the country to contextualize these things. That number one, there is no enmity, to the best of my knowledge, between Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka. And you know, Kalonzo Musyoka kept telling me, you know this guy, we started very far, 97, we were in LDP. And I know they visit each other's homes. They had a political disagreement. You've said it is because of the running mate's position. I'm sure the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka will be here one day and probably confirm or deny that that was the only reason. But whatever it is, I think it should be good to contextualize that, first of all, these people are friends. They have a political issue that probably needs to be ironed out. But at the heart of it, in fact, I'll give you an example. Before he left, you know, he's not in the country.
Yes.
He's out somewhere.
We have been informed.
And one of the things, because I was one of the last people who met Kalonzo Musyoka before he left, we actually had a photo shoot. Me and him only.
Okay.
2 hours.
That will display your ticket visually.
Yeah. Then he said, you know, I'm going. You guys run the show. Gave me a couple of assignments to do towards our candidature. But he said, I don't want to hear anything bad spoken about Raila. So I suspect deep down there's no animosity.
You've taken me into a territory I was going to get to a bit later on. So is it possible that the doors, the communication channels are still open for Kalonzo to go back to Azimio?
I can't confirm, neither can I deny, but I can say this. You know, I trust Kalonzo. He's somebody I've known for a while. And even the little, you know, Kahiga, you know the definition of the word experience.
Yes. Wahiga.
Wahiga, sorry.
Yes.
There are two ways you can look at the word experience. Either you say that experience is the years you put into work, or the work you put into the years. So I don't need to know somebody for 25 years. It's how intensely do I engage when I meet them. And one of the things about Kalonzo Musyoka, because he's been thoroughly misrepresented in the Kenyan media, is that...
How so?
I will explain that.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
I'm here. Are you in a hurry?
Media.
Are you in a hurry?
No.
No, I know.
But I'm in a hurry to get the truth. Carry on.
You are in a hurry for an explanation. So what I know is that he speaks from his heart. He means well. He means well for the country. And he meant it when he says, I am on the race. You know, yesterday I was in Bomas to represent him because there was a candidate's
pre-nomination meeting with
briefing.
IBC.
It was very hilarious, the meeting, because I didn't even know until yesterday that there are going to be 55 presidential candidates. So we were there, and that's one of the milestones we are having to cross. Tomorrow, I will actually be leading the Wiper team to deliver the signatures to IBC.
You've collected the 48,000?
Oh, yeah. 40, I think more.
Even more?
I think more. And so we will be delivering that tomorrow. So we are meeting every deadline. But knowing who Kalonzo is, the same way he put me at the junction and said, there comes a time when you have to make a decision between self and country. I think even for him, when he gets to that junction, he will choose the country. And if today he decided that choosing the country means that I will work with Raila Odinga, the same way that I obeyed him and left my candidature, I will do everything to support that decision. But that is not where we are at the moment. Right now, we are in the race.
Okay. For those who feel that Kalonzo did this out of maybe frustration, that he feels he's not getting what he wanted out of Azimio, or anger, as some have suggested, over the events in Azimio, what would you say to those who think that your ticket is purely a sour grapes ticket?
One of the reasons that you will realize it's not sour grapes is the messaging of our campaign. There is no bitterness. If it was sour, we would still be griping about the issues of the agreement and what have you. First of all, I would say to those people that Kalonzo Musyoka, in this respect, is a politician. and he takes political decisions that suit the agenda he has for this country and the journey he would want to walk for this country. And Kalonzo, by the way, Kalonzo Musyoka is not bitter. I don't get that. I don't get that feeling. So there's no sour grapes.
And let me give context to that. Those who have that point of view are of the opinion that this is a man who's been talking about deputizing, supporting Azimio no matter what. On one hand, he says, I'll support Azimio no matter what happens. On the other hand, I'm ready to be the deputy. Then in the 11th hour, on the final day of the deadline, suddenly announces he's vying and calls you out of the blue, so it seems, to vie along with him. That sounds like a man making decisions on the fly out of frustration or anger or...
No.
To make a point.
No, there's no point he's making. He is making the point that he is ready to serve the country. And when you say called out of the blue, it is partially incorrect. In the sense that...
You were not expecting his call.
But that does not mean that he did not give it a thought. On his part, it does not mean he did not give it a thought. You know, look at it, Wahiga. You know, I said it in my acceptance speech. I said, you know, there are many ways we could have got to this day. And I said, one of the ways, Your Excellency, is you could have actually called me to Serena to sit before an interview panel of eminent persons, probably scored me 82%, and said, you are the highest scoring candidate, therefore you are my running mate. So that's one methodology by which that could have been arrived at. I said, alternatively, and which seems to be the way you have gone, is the way Jesus nominated his 12 disciples. He was just walking by and he found some guy and intuitively felt, this is him. Said, come, follow me. And obediently, the 12 followed him.
You see a parallel?
Yes, I see, because I'm saying it is possible to be intuitive and to make a decision that appears like to be on the spur of the moment, yet the repercussions of that decision and the influence that decision has in the country will be from generation to generation. The 12 disciples that I allude to, they went on to establish Christendom, and
I think we understand his... I guess the comments of allies on both sides, both on the those who support Raila Odinga and those who support Kalonzo Musyoka, some of those comments would make one believe that there have been sour grapes and that Kalonzo's decision was purely that I will show you. I can do this on my own if you don't give me what I want.
And I'm giving you my comment because Kalonzo Musyoka is not here, but I'm telling you to the best of my knowledge. Okay? To the best of my knowledge, it wasn't. But Wahiga, like, I wanted to just deviate from that a little bit.
Okay.
And say, when he actually called me to join him, I said yes, but I told him, give me the night to sleep over this and we expound on this conversation. The following day, we had 2 hours together. And I said to him, now that you have got me on this ticket.
You had said yes by then?
Yes. I said, I actually realize there is an agenda that I would like to bring to this ticket. And I wonder if you would permit me. And I said, you know, I would like to mainstream minority issues and aspirations into the manifesto that you are going to put together.
Okay.
And, you know, we spoke about that subject extensively. And I'm so privileged that in the past 1 week, I've actually been able to provide material that will address certain key issues that touch on the lives of pastoralists and minorities across the country.
And if you can allow me to interject, so there is a manifesto being worked on right now?
Oh, yes.
There is.
Yes.
Which then makes me wonder, is there sufficient time for you and Kalonzo to mount a presidential campaign and to win on the 9th of August? We're talking 77 days or 76 days today.
And by implication, you are saying that it was legal for people to start campaigns 3 years ago when the official campaign period starts on Sunday, the 29th.
I think it was legal for people to declare that they are interested in the presidency and this is a potential running mate earlier on.
No. Everybody announced their potential running mate last week.
Okay.
So, but in terms of the official campaign period, it starts on the 29th.
Those on the other side, that they call them popularization tours, collecting views of the public, have been out there already.
You know, I'm from a running sort of family, and I have seen many winners of a race starting as if they were starting from behind. That's a strategy as well. Have you seen the guys who have been going out there? Their voices are getting hoarse.
How realistic are your chances, Sunkuli, this evening?
Sorry?
How realistic?
You tell me. They're very realistic.
No, well, what are your projections? You know?
No, we are not in projections yet. You know, we did announce this ticket last week. You know, I'm being practical to you, Wahiga. And we said, let's work behind the scenes. That's why you've not seen many of us talking. Let's put this thing together. And of course, there's work going on. And there's also a lot of talking going on. So, yeah, it is realistic.
So part of the talking and 2242 is the SMS line, #NewsNight. I'm going to need to read a few tweets even as we continue. Part of the talking has been from Wiper members. And we recently had some of them at a Wiper meeting yesterday, resolved to persuade Kalonzo to return to the Azimio fold. We also know Ukambani Professionals also said, Kalonzo, go back to the Azimio fold as well. How difficult it is for you as running mate to be running mate to a candidate for whom it seems all around are telling him, hey, this might be a mistake, let's regroup.
Okay, let me answer you. That's probably the easiest question you have asked this evening.
I'd be keen to hear the hardest. Carry on.
3 things I want to say about it. Number 1, first of all, yesterday's meeting, I read about it in the press, and the way it was reported was not exactly the way it was. And I want to explain this. First of all, you know, that was not a meeting to vote on whether Kalonzo should come or not come to Azimio. That was not the... You know, right now we're having meetings for our aspirants. So yesterday it was for the Lower Eastern region. Today we had for Narok and Kajiado. The team is moving all around the country, meeting our candidates for all elective offices to prepare them for the election. Number 2 is that there was a misreport to say that 45 out of
70?
50, I think they say.
Okay, 70%, sorry.
Yeah, 45 out of 50, they voted that Kalonzo should return to Azimio. And you know why that thing was inaccurate? If you looked at the upper part of the story, it said it was a meeting of 500 aspirants. So I was wondering to myself, there was a meeting of 500 aspirants, 50 of them voted. So I don't know if it was a sample vote, but I want to tell you that, number 1, that was not a meeting to discuss Kalonzo. It was a...
But should the sentiments concern you?
I am coming to that.
Yes.
Just give me time.
Okay.
So, number 1, it was a meeting to address the issues of our aspirants, because they have issues, different issues, and we are trying to help them to win. Secondly, I want to say that our middle name as a party is Democratic. We are Wiper, Democratic Movement. And as a Democratic Party, members are free whenever they gather to talk. And it is possible. Yeah, there have been a few concerns. Let me admit to that. There have been a few concerns of people saying, you know, we had already printed our material in Azimio. Would it not be cheaper for us if we just went back to Azimio? And so there is an economic angle to that argument. But I will say that whatever our members say, I am sure, by the way, I'm a running mate, I am not yet an official. I'm a member, but I don't hold office within Wiper. And Wiper is a corporate institution that makes its decisions within the right fora. But anything that is talked by our members, especially our candidates, surely it reaches the leadership of the party.
And then we put up for consideration. Because you know what all this looks like? Some observers out there would say, they would say that the events of the last couple of weeks have painted Kalonzo Musyoka either as one who is ill-advised or indecisive. If any of those are true, which one would it be?
None. And I will first of all go backwards and acquit myself when you say, you as a running mate, would you be comfortable with a candidate who would make you a running mate and then at some point he is not a candidate. Because I don't like...
Where does that leave you?
No. First of all, I am a fully fledged member of the Wiper Party. And besides the running mate stage I have now, I have ideas that I'm currently discussing with the party leader on how we should strengthen the party. I'll give you one of those ideas. I've had this conversation with the party leader that we need to introduce a leadership program within Wiper to help develop leaders across the country, especially the younger members of our party, prepare them for community leadership and ultimately for national leadership. So I have a lot of things I would do for the party, even if today, for any reason, which I don't think is going to happen, but if today, for any reason, I am not a running mate, I am a very useful member of the...
You don't want to say for any reason if Kalonzo...
Sorry?
Rejoins Azimio.
Let me, if in case, let's put it that way. There's no, let me tell you. Usually, ordinarily, when there's a separation if a couple separates, at the end of the day, there's only going to be two things that will happen: either a divorce or a reunion. But it is not possible for a separated couple to go and marry another person before there is a divorce. Because you know what I mean. So I'm trying to say, if today I was not the running mate, for number one, I am a loyal deputy to Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, and the same way I obeyed and ran from Narok to Nairobi, I would say, yes, sir. Where do we go and how do we do it? Okay. It's good for the party.
To broaden this, and I also have a couple of SMSs here which I'll be reading. 2242 is the SMS line. Hashtag is NEWSNIGHT. Let me now talk to you as someone who understands the political landscape of this country, not as a running mate, so maybe you can put that hat aside for a second.
All right.
Before your announcement as running mate, the reading of most observers was that the 2022 election was a two-horse race. From an objective perspective, do you agree with those who say that it is Azimio versus Kenya Kwanza at the end of it?
1 week in politics is too long. You correctly put it at that time. That was at that time. But an announcement in politics can change the math. So, as long as it is legally tenable for a third horse to join a race. You know, there are some races you cannot join midstream. But in the event that, because this one is possible to join midstream, the dynamics would change. But before that announcement, let me speak to that. Before that announcement, it seemed as if it was largely a two-horse
Because you wrote in a, I think
dichotomy.
it was your commentary in a local daily.
Yes.
I believe 30th March 2022, you wrote that the presidential race had two frontrunners, Azimio and Kenya Kwanza.
Because I knew that we as Wiper had brought in our full force into Azimio. I even said in that article that Azimio is going to carry Narok. And I was not saying it for a joke. I was in Azimio with Wiper, inside Wiper, you know, and I knew that we had made the right decision, and the big picture was that we were going to win Narok. I was not speaking about the country at that time because I was at that time concentrating on things on the ground in Narok County.
So can you rewrite that article given a chance?
Sorry?
Would you rewrite that article given a chance?
You know, I'm a writer, and I write all the time. And I have written before, and events have unfolded in such a manner that I have had to either inflect a little bit the tone of what I had written, or actually a total rewrite. And you know, Wahiga, I'm a student. I'm a teacher, but I'm more of a student than a teacher. And if you don't learn as you go by, then you have a problem. So that article must stay where it is because it is dated.
You have no regrets on the same?
It has a date, no.
As we move forward, William Ruto named Rigathi Gachagua as his running mate and proceeded to the campaign trail immediately. Raila Odinga, same thing, named Martha Karua, and it's been a busy period for the both of them as well. Kalonzo Musyoka named you as his running mate.
And we went to, and we went...
Some say, this is the reading, went mute, took a break of sorts and said, you know, went on social media, herding cows and so forth. And now you tell us he's left the country as well.
No. He's not run away. He's
left. No, I didn't say run away.
Let me tell you.
Now you're putting words in my mouth.
There is a lot of work going on. There are many ways to campaign. There's a lot of work going on. And actually, one of the first activities he's going to engage in when he returns is we have a 2-day tour of Narok.
When does he get back?
Sometime over the weekend.
Okay.
But Monday and Tuesday, we will be in Narok, and it will culminate in a prayer and thanksgiving rally on Tuesday, the 31st. And at that weekend, he is also taking me on a tour of Lower Eastern, a political tour of Lower Eastern. We're going to do some rallies. Then from there we pan out. And he will then be able to lead his troops, and he'll spell out the agenda going forward.
One last issue that we need to get your clarity on. Has the party issue been resolved? Can Wiper field a candidate when it is a member of Azimio?
I'm not aware that it cannot. Because number one...
Your legal teams have checked the documentation, checked the law.
Number one, my candidate's name and myself as a running mate are properly admitted at IEBC. Start from there. So legally, if we were talking law, there is no problem with the law. I think what we are talking more is not the law, it's politics.
And yet we saw him signing that agreement at KICC. And then that agreement would then presuppose that whoever Azimio chose as their flag bearer, if it wasn't Kalonzo, he would support. And his party as well.
I think I'm not thoroughly competent on that issue. He'll speak to it when he comes. But I'm telling you, legally, he can run. And politically, he can also back a decision to team up with whom he wants to team up or to run all the way. That he can do. And that should not be, by the way, you know this thing, you know, I've heard things names that Kalonzo has been called. One of them is watermelon, which I think is very unfair. Not so much to Kalonzo, but to the watermelon. And if you could allow me to speak on behalf of the watermelon, since it cannot, it's a very good fruit. Probably the best I have ever had, because it's not sugary, it's not anything. And I do not know at what point the watermelon
was given a negative connotation.
A parable for the bad. That's number one. Number two, this question of indecision seems to arise every time he actually makes a decision that some people don't like. You know, take for example, naming me. You know, on that day, okay, granted, our cousins in Azimio, they made history by naming a woman running mate. Made history for the party and made history for the country. But on the other side of town, Kalonzo Musyoka made history by naming a member of a minority in what I termed in my acceptance speech as a majoritarian era. And that took courage, not foolishness, that took courage. That was not indecision, it was a decision. So, in all fairness, Kalonzo Musyoka is a very decisive leader. And secondly, I eat watermelon, and Kalonzo is not what I eat. So Kalonzo is not a watermelon.
And should he come back and say we are going back to Azimio, there is no indecisiveness in that? It's not confusing to those who had begun to buy into your ticket, for example.
Let me tell you, he's not just going to come and stand at the airport and say something like that. If ever, I'm not saying he will ever do it, but if ever he were to do it, knowing Kalonzo that I know, it would have to be because it's the best thing for Kenya.
Honorable Sunkuli, let me read a few tweets and SMSs. I'm told we have them, and then I will let you go and rest. You say you have a busy program coming up. Okay, Honorable Son Teddy, you say, please ask Honorable Sunkuli to give us the probabilities of winning his senatorial seat and that of becoming the deputy president. president. Okay, that's an interesting one. Do we take two? Let's take like 2, 3. And Njoroge Jr., you say congratulations to Bwana Sunkuli, but what will be his stake if Kalonzo rejoins Azimio? Will his running mate bid end there, I guess, is what he's asking. Chester Nyantika, you say political intrigues at its peak. What Musyoka and Sunkuli are up to, what are they up to? Will their ticket reach fruition? Kiberenge Jr., you say Kalonzo Sunkuli ticket was a temporary stopgap measure to pile pressure on Azimio to give in to his demands. It was simply a threat. Baraza Ferdinand, you say Kalonzo Sunkuli's target is to spoil voters for Azimio. This will lead to a runoff. It was a must for both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza to choose running mates from Central Region because of the region's votes as the determinants. Okay, those were SMSs, those were tweets. Okay, we'll be looking at SMSs shortly, but let me allow you a chance to respond to that. Probability, Senate, what were your chances?
I've got all the questions.
Go ahead and respond.
Can I just go?
Yes.
The decision to go for running mate, when asked to take it up, I already indicated to you the question that was put before me. Self or country? Mm-hmm. I chose country. And this is not about getting the job of deputy president. This is about supporting an agenda.
Mm. And no one disagrees with that. What's the probability? I have several questions, and I want to give you time to respond to each of them.
I would say equally good.
As who?
I'm saying I would win the Senate of actually there were opinion polls which came out from both formations. Mm-hmm. And I hope they were the correct ones. Somebody should check them out.
So you are confident of winning the Senate seat, and that one we leave to the voters. But for the DP's seat DP's, with your ticket?
Well, first of all, there is no election for a DP, but I'm confident Kalonzo Musyoka would win the presidency.
Over Kenya Kwanza, over...
Sorry?
Over Azimio, over Kenya Kwanza, you'd rate your ticket as...
I said we are starting our we'll be starting our campaigns next week. Why don't I come to that question in 2 weeks' time? But okay. Very good chances. Okay. But I would then want to come to
the gentleman who said, was it a threat?
No, that was the last one. Eh? No, I'm at, so I have.
Okay, proceed.
So there was a question that said that this ticket was to spoil, mm-hmm. And I will say no. It was meant to put an agenda on the table. And we have put the agenda on the table.
Why not put the agenda earlier? Why not make it why leave it to the very last minute? We understood what Raila Odinga stood for.
I don't know why you keep calling this last minute when it isn't. There's 2 months to go before election. I don't know why you call it last minute. The last minute is the last 2 weeks to election. Mm-hmm. But I want also to answer the question about, that the people had to choose people from Central Province. Mm-hmm. Was a determinant. I think that is offensive to me as a minority person, as a Maasai. Because, number one, because that, what we are saying in short, is that because we have adopted Western democracy, which is a one man, one vote, and therefore whoever has the most votes wins the election, we have therefore said that forever and ever, until you guys decide to give birth enough, there is no chance for you to either be president or running mate. You know, Maasai land, where I come from, they host 50% or more of all the internal diaspora of Kenyan communities that do not live in their original homes, and they host them with pleasure and peace. That Maasai vote is not measurable only quantitatively. There is a qualitative element to that vote, namely that a person like Andrew Sunkuli, who comes from Narok County, which is the ultimate microcosm of what the country looks like, should be electable not just by Maasais, not just by people of Narok, but also by people of Central Province and people of the coast. Therefore, to say that the deputy president should only have come from Central because of numbers would mean that we need to go and rewrite what we mean by democracy and probably need to rewrite the constitution. Because if we are in a country where we say everybody has an equal chance, then you are telling us that we all have to retreat to our tribal cocoons in order to make it to the top echelons of the country.
I think nobody says that.
No. I'm telling you what...
You're theorizing off that question.
I'm telling you that is the implication of that question. There is no imperative that the running mate had to come from Central.
There is none, but there's also the question of theory versus reality. Now what you've spoken is best case scenario. But the reality of our times is that...
Let me tell you, even that reality is going to be rewritten.
Okay.
If you bring, let me give you an example. If today you marshal the votes of all the minority communities in Kenya who share certain problems and aspirations and concerns of historical marginalization, that vote, organized together, will form a formidable coalition of minorities. So I think because we are in a free Kenya, you know, if you go to my family, my father spoke six Kenyan languages. Each of my siblings and my other cousins have chosen a language. I have a sister who speaks fluent Kikuyu. I have another one who speaks Luya. We have all chosen another Kenyan language outside of Maasai because we tend to reach out to people. And to me, we should elect leaders, not communities. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's your pitch this evening. Let me read a few SMS and then we wrap this up. 2243 is the SMS line. #NewsNight. Someone here, no name, but you say, please ask Sunkuli, has Kalonzo considered opinion polls? What they are telling them right now, and will there be enough time to defeat Azimio and Kenya Kwanza? Someone else here says, no name, Andrew Sunkuli, what is your pitch as wiper? The whole nation is watching you. Isaiah Okombe Kayalo, you say, my former English teacher at MHSK, congratulations. I don't know.
Who is that?
Isaac Okombe Kayalo, I think wanting to. And then somebody here saying, where are you going with this? So those are the questions. And maybe my question to you off the back of this is, when you look at the opinion polls, when you look at the time, it gives you confidence that you can really dent the race. I'm not saying campaigns have started yet or not, just the reality of our time.
Opinion polls, it's been 1 week of this ticket. I said to you, ask me questions of things that happened when I was born.
Now, where does this ticket stand on the economy? On one hand, Azimio tell us 10-point agenda. This is what we'll implement. Kenya Kwanza tell us bottom up. That's the strategy. What does your ticket stand for?
I'm not going to unveil the thing we are just polishing for unveiling.
Give us a hint.
In fact, let me tell you, one of the things that Kalonzo has kept saying, and it doesn't speak to everything that he would want to say about the economy, but he has repeatedly said a 24-hour working economy. Okay, you don't have to legislate 24 hours. That's a fact. You just need to provide an environment. Kenyans are already entrepreneurial and they will work for it. But I'm telling you, this ticket is new. It's pushing forward, powering forward. As to opinion polls, we'll speak to them later on. And we are also listening to the ground. And I'm sure we will be able to speak authoritatively about opinion polls much later on.
For those who say, I like what I'm hearing from you, but I'm not sure whether this ticket will stand, what would you tell them? I
would tell them, number one, let's watch this space. And I'll say Kalonzo and Kalonzo Musyoka and myself as his running mate, we stand for one united, cohesive country. If Kalonzo Musyoka will ever be needed to do the things that unite a country, particularly to avoid the things that happened to this country slightly over 10 years ago, you can count on him.
Some say he's spoiling for a runoff. You saw that question.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. As I said, if he's going to be required, he's only a phone call away. These gentlemen know each other very well, I think.
If he's going to be required by who?
By the country.
he has demands that he wants enshrined in...
I've not heard of them, so I don't...
Azimio.
No, I've not heard about them, so I don't want to speak about them. He has never talked to me about demands.
Okay. We'll take that as your last word this evening. Andrew Sunkuli, thank you for your time. And we wait to hear the rolling out of the manifesto. And so that
thank you. And you will continue to hear from us. And we will continue to preach peace and unity in Kenya.
And you have no regrets about saying yes on that fateful Saturday?
I have none, because let me tell you, and I know you are closing the show, but I want to tell you, we spoke a lot of things beyond the election. And this friendship and political partnership is going to endure much longer than you would estimate.
That's a good place to leave it. Thank you so much. Andrew Sunkuli, Kalonzo Musyoka's running mate. Some said unexpected. He says it was thought through. He's also a politician and an educationist as well. Not new to the national stage, but definitely new in this designation. And here on Newsnight, we endeavor to bring you the latest from the political front. And now Hugh does a little bit more about that ticket. Kalonzo Sunkuli, what will happen next? Well, keep watching us. We'll give you updates as and when we get there. But thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in and sent in your messages. 22422 has been the SMS line. Hashtag Newsnight, wherever you've tuned in from, Kenya, East Africa, around the world. Asante sana. Now, on behalf of the whole team that's made this broadcast possible, thank you for watching us. My sign language interpreter this evening has been Wilson Mushora. Keep it Citizen TV over the coming days. Lots going to be happening on the political front, and we will give you those updates whenever you need to be updated and get you newsmakers, duty bearers on this platform to come and answer some of your questions. Have a good night. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. My name is Wahiga Mwaura. Thank you for your time.